Does Chris Brown have a classic album? It's your man Delvin. Welcome to Delvin's Room. And boy, the timelines is hot today with Usher versus Chris Brown. The never-ending debate. Because these two are the closest we ever gonna get to Michael Jackson, bro. These are the two closest, you feel me? And somebody made an interesting tweet alluding to that Usher got to work with the brightest and the greatest in the industry, while Chris Brown kind of crafted his own lane and did his own thing. Even though Chris did work with some greats, but not the heavyweights like Usher. And as of recently, JD, fresh off the podcast with Joe Budden, he said he wants to work with Chris Brown and produce a new Chris Brown album. He said a Chris Brown and him album would go out of the world, right? And I believe that. Teddy Riley has reached out to Chris Brown now saying we need to work. And it leads me to believe that does Chris Brown really have a classic album? And that's where the debate comes in at, right? Some people say Fame, some people say 1111, some people say Breezy. All great albums. But when you weigh it against somebody like Usher, I don't know. Here's something interesting about Usher, right? He has the best-selling album from any black artist in the 21st century. Confessions is the biggest. Did $1 million the first week. I believe it's still, no, I know. It's the biggest selling album from a black artist that's not Michael Jackson. You feel me? So Usher, we got to see Usher's peak. You know what I'm saying? We got to see him be massive. People forget sometimes how huge Confessions was. Confessions took over the world. You know what I'm saying? And as talented as Chris is, as many classic songs as Chris has, I don't believe Chris ever hit that level like Usher did, right? And I'm not saying who's better, because I like both of them for different reasons. If I had to pick one, I'm going to say it at the end. But Chris has not hit his zenith, in my opinion, as far as music goes. Now, performing and stuff like that, Chris is top notch. You can say, it's hard, but I do believe Chris is the better performer than Usher. And I know that's hard because Usher's a hell of a performer. It's tough, but I'm going to go with Chris as far as performances go, right? But music-wise, let's stick with music. Usher has hit his zenith, and we see how big his zenith was. His zenith is the closest thing we ever got to Michael Jackson's. Confessions is the closest thing we ever got to an artist reaching Michael Jackson's talent music-wise. You know what I'm saying? Confessions is still, it sold that many records, 20 million records. You can't sleep on that. You feel me? That don't happen. Now, if Chris works with producers to the magnitude that Usher worked with, we don't know. Could Chris shock the world? I believe he can. He has the talent. So I think Chris should take JD, Teddy Riley, Danger, all the great R&B producers. I think Dog Child, I think he should take every one of them and work with them, bro. I believe he should, because Chris is still young enough. Chris is still under 40 that he can make an extremely impactful album right now. So, I like what JD said. I believe Chris should work with some top-notch producer at least once in his career to see where is Chris Brown's zenith at. How good is Chris Brown musically? I don't think we got that question answered yet. I mean, I know some of us gonna go with nostalgia. Some people might say Graffiti's a classic. Some people might say Fame. You know what I'm saying? But I don't believe those are classic albums. I'm gonna just keep it real with you. Classic albums, songs in A minor, Stevie Wonder. Classics is Thriller. You feel me? Classics is Purple Rain. Classics is Confessions. Classic is, Beyonce. Classics, to get a classic, Chris is going to have to pull it all out. You feel me? He going to have to put it all on the line. And Chris moves like an independent artist. As huge as Chris is, he moves like an independent artist. But we just want one album for Chris where he gets all these big wigs together to focus on him and see how great he is, right? Because in my opinion, right now, and overall, in the totality, I still feel like Usher is the greater artist than Chris. Performer-wise, yeah, Chris is probably the better performer. But music-wise, hits, just the stats. Chris got 3 number one albums. Usher got 4. Usher has more number one albums. He sold more records than Chris. He only has 2 number one solo singles. You know what I'm saying? Usher has way more. You feel me? So it's like, as far as accolades go, the accolades is not as close as you think. Usher accolades is very much higher than Chris. You feel me? So I would love to see Chris Brown work with a JD, work with a Dog Child, work with a Teddy Riley, work with a Neo, work with a Dream, and just see what's possible. I don't know. I don't know. It's your man Delvin's Room to the next.